Yo, what's up, everybody? How y'all doing? It's your boy Mike D, aka DDE80, aka 13th Wonder of the World, aka Mike DZ. How y'all doing on this rainy Tuesday down here in the South? Thank y'all for coming through, listening to the point of view. Shout out to the Point Place family. Shout out to B.Ray. Shout out to Breezy. Shout out to Naya. Shout out to my sister. I love all y'all. And thank y'all for joining me on this episode of The Point of View. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, go out there and get Bobby Reezy's Loaded Love. Next month, I will be starting on the starter kit. I got some news that might come as a good blessing to some, or some people might not be able to get it. But we're trying to see if we can get the point of view and all the point play stuff, which is some already out there. We're going to start trying to get the point of view to come to TikTok as well as YouTube. I'm trying to work on that as well, so you guys could actually see me while I'm doing this. And also, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to try to get me some better podcast equipment as well. So when I do my point of view, it will be live, more clearer, more better. That's just some of the good news for me. Thank God for us all living to see the day. Kind of burnt out. Last 24 hours still, well, the last 48 hours have been tough on me, but I'm still trying to maintain. And God, workload's gonna be different this week. I think I'm gonna be at the job for at least 5 days. I'm trying to see if I could take off tomorrow, still do the point of view, and don't have to worry about going to the job. But I'm here, ladies and gentlemen, right now. I know that NXT comes on in about 45 minutes, so I'm going to try to talk to you guys for about 45 minutes, if that's okay with you guys. First, I'm going to do the wrestling part of the point of view. Then I'm going to do the NBA news as well from the point of view. First of all, with WWE, Raw was an okay show. Drew McIntyre beat Damian Priest because of R-Truth. We saw Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark still put their hat in for to be the contenders for the women's tag team titles. We saw the Kabuki Warriors as well as Bayley pop up on Raw. The Kabuki Warriors came on there to get at Carter and Chance, as well had an interaction with Natalya and Knox. Gunther and Seth Rollins, for the first time, they had a segment between those two. Very, 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 very friendly display by Gunther and Seth Rollins. It's good to see the Intercontinental Champion and the World Heavyweight Champion have a segment. Jey Uso has not been wrestling, but he will wrestle next week against Bronson Reed. Miz loses to Dominic Mysterio, but JD gets the blunt of the beating by DIY as well as the Miz. Next week it will be Ballard teaming up with Damian Priest defending the Undisputed Tag Team titles against DIY. They might win next week. That's just a big thing. Ivar and Chad Gable had a great match, but in the end, Valhalla interfered and Ivar beat Chad Gable, as well as Ivan now beat Valhalla. Some good matches on there. Rhea Ripley still, trying to get that match with Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. Nia Jax destroyed Becky Lynch and Bayley. Raw was interesting, man. New Day versus Imperium. Great tag team match. Disqualification. Double count out. And they went at each other, and the New Day and the Imperium went through a table. Great match. You could hear them calling for Kofi because Kofi had to be a part of the plan, and he came there just in time, but you could hear them calling for Kofi in the spot. But Kofi came through. Everything seemed okay with Raw. Speaking of Monday Night Raw, there was a talk that Amazon Prime were going to get Raw. That's not the case, folks. News broke today while I was asleep that Raw will be on Netflix for the next 10 years, starting January of 2025. Raw's going to be on Netflix. That means if you don't have Netflix, then you need to prescribe to Netflix. That's the only way you're going to watch wrestling. USA will have SmackDown only now. So AEW, if they want to leave Time Warner, they got a chance to go to Fox now. Or TNA. Or NWA Power. So you got all these networks now are going to be freed up from WWE. USA will have SmackDown only. There's a rumor that SmackDown will be on Tuesdays. Excuse me, folks, still raspy with this weather. But ladies and gentlemen, Netflix is going to have WWE Raw, and guess how much they're going to pay for it? $5 billion, Netflix and WWE Raw. That takes place next year, so you will see Raw still on USA until the beginning of January of 2025. Triple H, Nick Khan, and now The Rock are now partners in the TKO merger with WWE, which means that The Rock now is a boss of WWE. He was on First Take talking about it with Stephen A. Smith. He's been everywhere talking about Raw going with Netflix. He's been on there talking about he now owns his name, The Rock. Great move by Dwayne Johnson. We know that he's going to be doing, he's a part of Dark Side of the Ring. We know that he's going to be doing the XFL football season still. We know that he's a major movie star. And now he's now part owner, has a share in WWE stock as well as TKO. Great move by The Rock, folks. Great move by The Rock. Congratulations to The Rock. Congratulations to him for making a big step like that. So him and his arch rival in the business, Triple H, are now business partners, along with Nick Khan. There's no Vince McMahon in this. Vince is out of the loop. So that means that the creative, he still have some input on it, but he doesn't have the big input like he used to have. Vince McMahon, folks. Good look out. This is going to be interesting for WWE, folks. This is what WWE has, and this is great for WWE business, man. Very great. Very, very great for WWE. Also, ladies and gentlemen, we heard also about a rumored match from 10 years ago when Tebow was a member of the Patriots as quarterback. He got cut, and they were trying to have a match between Tebow and the Big Show. I would have loved to see Tim Tebow go at it with the Big Show. That would have been great for business. I think Tebow would have won that match, but it would have been interesting to see Tim Tebow in a wrestling ring. Maybe we might still see it again one day. Maybe we might see Stephen A. Smith in a wrestling ring, along with Shannon Sharp, because they were talking about it on First Take. Great piece on The Rock on First Take. It's on YouTube now. You can watch it and enjoy it, as well as on Pat McAfee. Also, ladies and gentlemen, this is still the the wrestling part of it. SmackDown's announcer, Kevin Patrick, has been removed from being the #1 announcer on SmackDown. He was on the hot seat for the last 2-3 weeks. And I guess that what he was doing was not up to par to what they had. So Kevin Patrick is no longer the #1 announcer on SmackDown. I don't know who you bring in. I don't know if you go get Vic Joseph, because I think that's the most logical piece. But he's good with NXT. Maybe you bring him up and bring him to SmackDown to go with Corey Graves, or take Kevin Patrick and put him on NXT. I don't know what you do. But Kevin Patrick's been there for like 2-3 years. He used to be on Raw Talk when they would have it right after Raw, live at the arena. Most of them they did right there in the Thunderdome, if I'm not mistaken, during the pandemic. But I don't know if you go with him. I think Matt Camp could be a great announcer. But WWE has to figure this out. Do you go with Byron Saxton? Because Byron Saxton and Corey Graves, Byron Saxton is a color commentator, but Byron Saxton could fit the bill for what they want done on SmackDown. So it's going to be interesting to see what it is. If Joey Styles wasn't doing anything else, I would get Joey Styles. If JR could hold up, JR would fit the bill for SmackDown. But you've got to figure this out. If you're not going to use Kevin Patrick, use somebody else. Get you a lady. Renee Young's not there anymore. She's in AEW. But do you go get Todd? Do you go get Tom Phillips? Do you go get Vic Joseph? Who knows? But Kevin Patrick is out. You know, I hate that happened to him, but I'm hoping that he can bounce back. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let me go now to the sports section of the point of view. I'm talking about the basketball part here, NBA. First of all, LeBron James is not playing tonight against the Clippers. The Lakers are probably going to lose that game. They've beaten the Clippers twice. But if LeBron's not playing, they're probably not going to win. AD's probably going to have a great game, but that's not going to be enough to stop those forehead monsters in Westbrook, George, Harden, and Kawhi Leonard. Those guys are right now playing pretty good basketball, as well as the Phoenix Suns. I heard the rumor was about Kevin Durant. Yes, Kevin Durant deserves to be on the Mount Rushmore with LeBron James, Steph Curry, Giannis, Dame, all these guys as well. He deserves to be on there with Michael, Magic, Bird, Kobe, Shaq. Kevin Durant deserves to be on there as well, along with Steph Curry and LeBron James. He deserves to be on there because the Suns are playing great ball right now. Their three-head monster is starting to fit in. So we'll see what happens as everything goes on in the basketball game. Good luck tonight on your hits. I hope you hit on your spreads, player performance, over and under, money line. I hope you hit on all that. I hope you win some money tonight as well. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, also the Lakers are trying to eye guys like Colin Sexton, Dejounte Murray from the Hawks. They're looking for guys, to try to trade to get D'Lo out of there. I keep telling you guys, D'Lo is playing not only for the Lakers to try to keep him, but he's playing as a trade piece. So if they do trade him, he can have a good saying with whatever team he goes to. The trade of the day, I talked about it yesterday. But I'm talking about it again today. Terry Rozier went to Miami. Kyle Lowry goes to the Hornets. I don't know if Kyle Lowry is going to stay in Charlotte, but he might, because I think he wants to, help the youngsters and things like that. But as for Terry Rozier, and I said this yesterday, that they were going to be, if Miami got him, there's no doubt in my mind, they're one of the top 4 teams in the game. They have just overrid what the Pacers and the Knicks have done in the trade deadline with the trades. They get Terry Rozier, the Heat does. Guess what happens? Oh, well, the Pacers get Siakam. What that mean? We got a guy that plays like Kyle Lowry. We got a guy that's Scary Terry, that can play with the same mentality as Jimmy Butler. Those Miami Heats are dogs. My friend said, she told me this, she said they're dogs. They get after it. They are expected to, with them, championship type caliber. Don't be surprised if they make the NBA Finals, because they knocked out Boston in 7. When they had Boston beat 3-0, if I'm not mistaken, last year. They knocked out Milwaukee, Miami did. They are a team that's not scared of Philly, Boston, or Milwaukee. They're going to be one of the top 4 teams. I feel for Cleveland, even though Mitchell is back, and I think, Garland's having a great season. Him, Mitchell, those guys are doing what they need to do. They're better than Atlanta. They are better than Toronto Raptors. They're better than the Bulls. They are there. Now, the Pacers are probably going to be 5 now. New York is going to be looking on the outside, looking in. They're going to be 6. And this is just me projecting what's going on now, because I'm here to tell you guys, they are a team that can get the job done. And now that they got Scary Terry to play along with Jimmy Bones, Hero, Robinson, and they traded just Kyle Lowry. They didn't trade anybody else. They traded Kyle Lowry for Terry Rozier. So that's going to be interesting to see what Scary Terry does, folks. I think Scary Terry has it, but we'll see what happens, man. It's going to be interesting to see, folks, where the Miami Heat stand at now, because they're not worried about getting the number 1 seed. The only thing they're worried about is getting to the playoffs and having a tremendous run. And they will. Trust me, they will. Milwaukee needs to look out. And speaking of Milwaukee, the segue, Adrian Griffin got released as the coach of the Bucks. They're using their interim coach right now, but there's a possibility that Doc Rivers will probably not be hosting ESPN games too much more, because the Bucks want him as the number 1 coach. My thought on that is this: if you get any other coach that could talk to Giannis, that could talk to Damian Lillard, that can mind Bobby Portis, Chris Middleton, Lopez, and all those boys, it is Doc Rivers. You got to remember, yes, he folds when he coaches, he doesn't have a great coaching record in the playoffs, because he does have where he beats up 3-1, 3-2 in situations, and he ends up losing. He gets out-coached and loses his series. We know what he did in Boston, but that's been like 15 years ago. He got Boston to the finals. He won a championship, coached a championship team with the forehead monster of Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, Ray John Rondo, and if you want to add a 5th member, Kendrick Perkins, the great Perk from ESPN. Then they did it again in 10 when they were up 3-2 against Kobe, Gasol, and Odom and Artest and the Lakers, and they lost. The Lakers came back and won 2 straight games in LA, Kobe. But he was also up 3-2 in the bubble with the Clippers when they lost to Denver, 3-1, excuse me. He was up 3-2 also. I think he was up 3-1 when Chris Paul was with the Clippers. So Doc Rivers, if they make him the choice, he will be the right choice for them. No doubt about it in my mind. I think Doc has it. That's just me and my theory if the Bucks are going to get him. There's no excuse if Doc Rivers become their coach. He could get them to the finals, folks. Just that plain and simple. Also, I don't want to count this out, but congratulations to both Karl Anthony Towns of the Minnesota Timberwolves and Joel Embiid for their big games last night. Joel Embiid had 70 points in Philadelphia history. The only person that he hasn't done it with was Will Chamberlain. Will Chamberlain had 100 points, but he had 70. Great job by Joel Embiid. 2 big men scoring like this. Karl Anthony Towns had 60, but it went to Nah because the Hornets won the game over the Timberwolves. But a great game by Karl Anthony Towns to put up 60 points in a basketball game. It's hard to score 60. These guys make it easy. And especially to do it on the anniversary of Kobe Bryant 81. So that was great as well. Shout out to Joel Embiid, who I think will be the MVP again this year, because there's nobody topping him what he's doing. And also shout out to Karl Anthony Towns, letting everybody know that Minnesota is still his team. So we'll see what happens with all that as that go forth on the moving parts of the NBA as well. Tomorrow will be NXT's recap as well as AEW's Dynamite's preview, as well as NBA news, as well as more WWE news. Seth Rollins is not going to take time off. He's going to rehab and try to get the Mania. Also, I forgot to talk about the conversation between Cody and Punk. They made it serious. So those two are going to try to go at each other at the Royal Rumble, which they're supposed to do. May the best man win. With that being said, I'm going to log off. I have some special podcasts coming up. I do want to say one thing before I get off of here, and this is personal. You know, why is everybody always so negative about things? You know, that's the thing. I mean, very negative. And this is just me talking from a personal standpoint. When you try to do something that's positive, there's always somebody that's trying to knock down what you're doing, because they don't care how you feel about what's going on. The problem with people these days is this. Instead of you worrying about what's going on with yourself, you always in other people's business. Instead of you tending to what you got going on, you would rather tend to somebody else's business. Yes, I do slack. Yes, I slack. But everybody else does too. Because you're not perfect in what you do. You're not perfect. You're not. But if you would just tend to your own business at times and stop tending to everybody else's business, everything will be all right. I thank God for this platform. I thank God for Bobby Reezy, because he opened this platform up for me And I appreciate him doing it because he allows me freedom to do my sports podcast, The Point of View. This is a guy I've been knowing for over 28 years. Makes 28 years this year. He's been my friend for that long. And I would never, in a million years, never in a million years, stop doing The Point of View if I was just doing this for a hobby. It's ain't a hobby. It's a passion that I want to do. Yes, I work a hard job, but I still take out time to tell people what's going on in the world of wrestling and the world of sports. But for people to always naysay something that I do or whatever going on is stupid. Because you have to pray to the same God I pray to. You have to ask God to deal with the same vices that you have in your life. Your vices may be different than mine, but you got vices that you got to ask God to help you deal with. There is something going on in your life that you need God to deal with you about and help you deal with. Just like me, just like anybody else in this world. It don't matter if you're black, white, yellow, brown, whatever. You still have vices you got to deal with. And for people to naysay what I'm doing is ridiculous. Yes, I make errors on The Point of View. Yes, I get tongue twisted sometimes on The Point of View. Yes, I have to think about, what I say at times to make sure it's accurate. Sometimes it's inaccurate. I mean, not inaccurate, but sometimes it may be a mistake of what I say. But still in all, I give you facts on what I see, what I know, what I hear. But for all of that, people need to stop throwing dirt at people all the time. When you don't have your act together, you could be $1 million rich and you still got problems. You could be $1 million rich and still not have a peace of mind. You could still be rich. You could be living comfortable and still don't have joy in your heart. Pay attention to yourselves and let the other person pay attention to themselves. Because when you do that, sometimes words do hurt. Sometimes it's hard to roll words off your back. It's not easy. That saying that sticks and stones will always hurt, whatever. But words do hurt. Words hurt. What people say to you hurts. I don't care what anybody tell you. It hurts. It's a hurtful thing when somebody tells you something that you know that's not accurate. It hurts. And I'm telling you, I'm saying this for a reason, because there's a lot of people that's naysaying, and I didn't know this, but I figured out now, there are people that actually listen to The Point of View. I thought it was only a few circle of people that listens. No. There's more people that listen to The Point of View as well. And I'm not making this up. I'm not trying to get more views or nothing like that. I do want more views, but I want to get the views on the strength of the show, not begging people to listen to The Point of View, but asking to listen to The Point of View. Not going to beg you to do anything. I don't beg to ask you to do anything, but I would love for you to listen to The Point of View. This is a side note of me because there were some comments that were made about why I'm doing a point of view. Why am I trying to do a podcast knowing that I work a strenuous job? Let me tell you something. That man in the sky will always have my back as long as I'm living. He will always have my back. He will always provide for me. Yes, it's tough. Sometimes you got to get it out the mud. But in him, everything is going to be good. And I just want to encourage people to let you know, fight for your dream. Don't stop your dream. Keep pushing for your dream. Yes, there's people that's going to get in the way. They're going to try to tinker and try to throw salt on what you do. But what you do, when they throw salt, you either sweep it off the floor, throw it in the trash, or you throw it out in the air. But always remember that God got you. Keep it in mind. And I'm going to leave that on that note right there. Certain people, a lot of people, need to tend to their own business. If I want you involved in my business, then yes. But until then, stop with the negativity. I said this in church at the beginning of the year, and I'll say it again. This year, I am not for the negativity. This year, I'm not for the drama, the BS, and all that foolishness. There's no need for it this year. And I'm telling you this, I will not cut anybody off. I just won't deal with them in that type of atmosphere. I'm not with the negativity no more. If anybody wants to be in my life, you better come with some type of positive attitude, some type of positive inspiration, some type of positive move. If it's negative, I don't want it. And that's just me being honest. And that goes for anybody that's in my circle. I love you. I will never turn my back on you. But I just won't deal with the negativity. This year is a year of peace for me. Sure, I'm going to have issues at times where I'm going to have to ask God to help me deal with. But as far as the extra foolishness, no. Ain't no more of that. I love everybody. I don't hate nobody. Do I dislike? Yes, of course I dislike situations or ways of people at times. That don't mean I hate you. That means I love you, but I don't like what you're doing. At the end of the day, if I disagree with you, we can agree to disagree, but still be what we are. You know? And I'm just saying this because there's people that's throwing salt on the point of view, and I don't like that. I don't like people talking about the point of view. It's something that we're trying to build up so that we can be conglomerated with this thing. Well, we ain't got to be worrying about working hard and all that anymore. We can make money talking about sports, talking about wrestling, talking about music, talking about this, that, and the other. But I'm strictly sports. I can't talk about music. I can't talk about movies and all the other, etc. But I choose sports. And once again, I thank God for my boy, B.Ray, because God gave him the inspiration and gave him the information for me to do the point of view. Right now, it's up in the ups. TikTok, trying to get it on TikTok so I could do it live where people can come in and actually comment and talk about sports with me. I want to do it a certain time of the day and try to be consistent with it, just like I'm consistent with this. I only took a hiatus because of the Christmas break and other things, etc., what I won't talk about on the airwaves. which was nothing really bad, but it's just something I'm not going to discuss on the airwaves. But I will tell you this. The Point of View is back, whether I'm here on Spotify, TikTok, Instagram, wherever. It's coming soon, folks, where I will be on the platform of TikTok and Instagram to talk about The Point of View, sports and wrestling. Until then, enjoy NXT, NBA, college basketball, everything, hockey, all. God bless, God keep you. Have a good night.